16 years to the day, 16 years after Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Ida waylays Louisiana. Tonight, we talk about it. Roll it, Ed. As we begin, I send my thoughts and prayers to all of you dealing with the aftermath of Hurricane Ida. We are a tough, resilient people, and we will get to the other side of this. Tonight, we want to talk about what the aftermath looks like and some things that you might want to think about in the event you had some hurricane damage. We begin tonight with Kelvin Hill, one of the chief administrative officers for East Baton Rouge Parish. You're over DPW, and you got a big job right now. Let's begin with the assessment. What's your assessment of damage here?
Well, we actually have crews out now doing damage assessments, both from the Department of Development looking at structural damage and from DES looking at debris damage. We're finding quite a few piles. We think we're going to be in the neighborhood of 300,000 to 500,000 cubic yards of debris, which is quite a bit. So if you think about the ice storm we had back in February, that was about 70,000 cubic yards of debris. So
and then
we're going from 70
that water
to
situation in May too, where there was some flooding here.
That's right.
So, you know, we'll get to the power and talk about where we're going to be with Demco and Entergy and getting power back on in the parish. I've seen trees snapped down all over the city of Baton Rouge and all around us. How is your team and their ability to address getting the debris removed from neighborhoods and in front of businesses?
Well, we're doing a pretty good job, I think. It starts with the assessment, as we just spoke about. We have to know how much is out there so we can plan for how much capacity to bring in to pick it up. Right now, we have 3 debris contractors under contract. DRC is our primary contractor, and we have a couple others that will help us with this storm. We think we're going to have 30 to 40 trucks on the street starting Tuesday of next week to start picking up debris. Compared to in the past, we've only been able to get 8 to 10 trucks on the street. So this will be a significant effort for us, and we're staffing up to do our best to get it up as quick as we can.
You know, it's been interesting to watch over the last few days as the storm has moved out of here, some of the areas that have been blocked. What about roadways and some of the thoroughfares in the city that have had debris in them? Because there's a consistent admonition to stay away from some areas. What about that?
So as we sit here this morning, we probably have 246 or so trees down and roadways. We brought in 30 crews on Tuesday to start cutting and pushing debris out of the roadway to open up the roads. But with trees down, we always have power lines down, which, as you've probably seen, utility crews out there working on the power lines. So we still have some roadways that are blocked. We're working with the push crews to get the trees cut, but we have to work a bit in coordination with Entergy because we really can't get in there on the power line. So we have to wait till they secure those so we can get the trees out of the roadway. So we're working on that.
Well, I want to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and talk about some of the damage in the parish. I'd like to talk about what the other side looks like in terms of people moving debris to their front of their homes, because some people were impacted by the storm. I mean, I'm one of them, and people are trying to figure what the schedule is for that. And so we'll come back and continue with Kelvin. Later on, we're going to talk with the Better Business Bureau about scams. As you can imagine, this storm hits our area and the vultures fly in to take advantage of you. We want to give you the good information. And later on, Matt Moscona will join us to talk about the Tigers in Los Angeles. You're watching The Clay Young Show on WBRZ+. You know, if you're watching this tonight, that means you have electricity. If you have damage at your home, you're probably wondering, what do I do? When do I take it to the road? Kelvin Hill is Chief Administrative Officer with East Baton Rouge Parish. He's over DPW. So let's talk about that. Sure. The garbage pickup never stopped, with the exception of Monday, obviously, because we were dealing with the storm. So you have continually been servicing the parish. Right. So what do you want people to know about their pickups and about bringing debris to the road?
Well, we would ask residents to start as soon as they can with their storm debris, get it out, get it piled so we can see it and know that it's there. We would also ask that they separate their debris. Keep 3 to 4 foot between their garbage can, 3 to 4 foot between their recycling can, 3 to 4 foot between their trash pile, their debris pile, and their kind of bulky item pile. That way the crews can collect it. But we recognize that not everybody will get their debris out on the same schedule.
Right.
So we'll make multiple passes through the parish for collection, but we do ask people just to get it out there as soon as they can.
How soon are you starting with that, with picking up the debris?
We'll start on Tuesday, September the 7th.
Okay.
We'll start. We're
Next
planning.
week. Mm-hmm.
We're planning to have 30 to 40 trucks.
Okay.
In the parish to start with, to start that collection process, and we're going to try to get this done as soon as we can.
So you are already in the midst of dealing with drainage issues before the storm.
Oh,
I've spoken to Fred Rayford about that, and you guys have a mitigation plan. How did Ida, or how has Ida impacted that?
Well, the big concern now is we've already pulled 2.8 million pounds
Wow.
of debris
Wow.
out of our storm drain system. Obviously, with the hurricane coming through, it's blown a lot of debris into the roadway on the side of the curbs. And our concern now is that debris will wash down back into the storm drains that we just cleaned, mm-hmm. right? So we would like to ask residents to help us by keeping those storm drains clean, not blow anything into the street, bag their leaves,
yeah.
and we'll collect the bags, so hopefully we can keep it out of the drains that we've just opened up.
Or throwing anything into the drains, which has always been a big issue as well.
You'd be surprised what we find.
Well, I cross Ward Creek all the time, and I see a refrigerator sitting in there, and it doesn't move, and I'm thinking, who throws a refrigerator in the, but that's another thing. Dealing with the aftermath of this, what's your game plan? How long how has it extended what you're already doing, and how long will we see debris in front of homes?
Well, just recognize we've got 2 efforts underway.
Yeah.
Our storm drain cleaning is continuing. Those crews are still out there. They're still doing that work, and we expect that work to continue. We're bringing in a second set of contractors to help with collection.
Okay.
Right? I'd like to try to get that done in the next 12 weeks or so, mm-hmm. But with 300,000 cubic yards to pick up, it's going to take a minute.
Yeah, where are you in terms of staffing levels? I know that your folks are dealing with, like all of us, with this storm. I mean, are you at the level you want to be at? I know it's tough right now with everything going on, but where are you at staff capacity?
Well, it kind of depends.
Okay.
DPW as a whole is down about 30%
okay.
from what we're allocated to be. But if you look at some of the contractors that we're using, they have some struggles with staffing as well. Mm-hmm. Republic started picking up on Tuesday. They only had 70% of their staff to show up because of the impact from the storm.
Yeah.
Yesterday was a little bit better. They were about 80%. We think we're going to see the same effect on our debris collection contractor as they try to get their subcontractors together. And we know that there are going to be some impacts, but we think we can manage them.
So let's talk about traffic lights.
Sure.
Mel had a line that he said off the air that I won't say here at all. It wasn't vulgar, but it was a line he said off the air that's so good. Maybe on the audio podcast, I'll tell y'all what he said. Do we need to start a complaint against driving schools across Louisiana? Because people don't know when the traffic lights are out, it's a 4-way stop. I've seen some spectacular near misses driving around Baton Rouge. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, let's start with 4-way stop means everybody stops at the traffic light if it's out.
Right.
And of course, yield until it's your turn to go.
Right.
But right now we have about 227 lights still out. They're out simply because there's no power to run them, and until energy restores power, those intersections are going to be treated as 4-way stops. We have about 5 signals on generators that we
Yeah.
can power with generators. Obviously, we can't power all of them,
Right.
but those that we can, we are. And you'll notice that we have some that are in flashing, which means there's something wrong with that signal that we have to address.
Okay.
We have some boom arms that hold the signals up that got turned during the hurricane. We suspect internally in those arms the wires will pull loose,
Right.
and they have to be rewired. So there's going to be some repair that we have to do as well.
Well, you got to come back in the future and give us an update on what's going on.
Happy to do so.
Kelvin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Coming up, let's talk about avoiding scams with the Better Business Bureau. And later on, the Tigers take to the air today. We'll talk with Matt Moscona. Stay right where you are. Carmen Million is president and chief executive officer of the Better Business Bureau of South Central Louisiana. So this is the time where you really earn your money, because during the year, the Better Business Bureau is such an asset to people wanting to know about a company they're going to do business with.
Absolutely.
Right now, as I said in the opener of the show, the vultures swoop in to take advantage of people's misery. So let's start at the beginning. The first thing people should know before they hire a contractor or someone to do work on their home if there's damage.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing you need to do is you need to make sure you check with the insurance company. That's the most important thing. Take pictures, document everything. But yeah, there are storm chasers that are hitting the area. It's already happening.
Right.
We're getting the calls. People need to make sure they understand that you should not make a bad decision in a bad situation. You've already been a victim. You don't want to be victimized twice. So you really need to investigate these companies. These people are going to knock on your door. They're going to offer you the world, but you need to investigate them, because you have to think about this. Would you want somebody that is not insured, bonded, licensed on your property?
Right.
If they get hurt, what happens then? Or if they take your money and run, what do you do?
So I was reading some of your information yesterday, and I thought it was interesting what you talked about as it relates to paying someone to do the work. What percentage you should pay up front. Don't give them cash. You want a paper trail. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing we want people to understand is it's so important that you don't pay up front. The only hold you have on a company is what you owe them, right? Paying a small amount in good faith is understandable,
Right.
But you don't want to pay with cash unless they give you a company written receipt. That's never going to happen in most cases. So you want to make sure you pay with a check or credit card so that you have a paper trail. but you don't want to pay a significant amount of money up front. And again, you never want to pay in full until the complete job is done and you're satisfied with it.
What are some of the scams that you've seen?
We've seen them all. and I know there's a new one. The biggest or the most painful scam is that they'll hit on somebody who's vulnerable.
Yeah.
It could be an elderly person and who's desperate and they need their electricity or they need their roof or they need a tarp or whatever the case may be. And they say, well, we need money up front. And
Right.
they will pay them cash and then they leave and those people are stuck again.
Right.
Or they hire somebody to come out to do the work and they either do inferior work or they do more damage to their home, and then you're left trying to hire somebody else to come back in and do the work. And we've seen it all. And we've heard the stories where these contractors say, well, we need to feed our kids or we need to put shoes on our workers.
Right.
We've heard it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you also talk about getting at least 3 bids. Talk about that.
Well, in a perfect world, you can get 3 bids. With COVID, and on top of that, the storm and everything else that's happened, it may be hard. Try if you can. The only way to know if a company is charging you a fair price is to get more than 1 bid. 3 is optimal, 2 is wonderful. But that's the only way that you know if you're getting a fair price.
Do you ever talk people through going through their insurance policy? Because it could be legalese, it could be tough to understand what the insurance company will and won't do in the event of a disaster?
Well, and that's something that we tell people. Understand what your policy says. You don't assume that just because you have an insurance policy that everything's covered. You need to understand deductibles. You have to understand what the requirements are. Most people don't even realize just because they have hurricane damage covered under their policy,
Right.
flooding may not be a part of it. So they really need to understand that. And we do help them because they don't, in most cases, understand what is covered and what is not.
Well, it's that falling water versus rising water thing that we all heard about during Katrina, and that's really a difference. You know, for the average person, how do they get information from you to be able to know? Is there a cheat sheet that people can get?
We do provide tips, and I've sent several out in the last couple of days. We will email them. We usually have them on our website. They can call us at 225-3465-222, which is BBB, or they can just go to our website at bbb.org and get those tips.
You know, for businesses, this is kind of a sidebar, but for businesses that are interested in joining and being a part of the Better Business Bureau, this is probably a time that you want to be on the list of reputable companies because people are so leery about who they call to do work now, right?
Right, and if they call us and ask us for a contractor name or a construction or roof or whatever, we're just going to give them a list of our accredited businesses because the difference is that we vet our members. And so if they want to become a member of the Better Business Bureau, they have to meet and maintain certain standards. Licensing, insurance, they have to be in business 6 months or better. They have to have a B or better rating or they're not even eligible. So you can't just walk in
Right.
and become a member. That list is very valuable. And so that's when people call us, and we've received several calls, and we're sending out those lists of our accredited members.
Well, we appreciate you being on. You got to get you to come back like Kelvin to talk about what's happening after this storm. Carmen,
Absolutely.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, the Tigers are leaving to go to Los Angeles. The game is this weekend, and boy, do we need it. We'll talk with Matt Moscona about it next. It has been a really, really long week. You know, Hurricane Ida, the aftermath of that, removing debris, dealing with scam artists coming into town. And it's Labor Day weekend, and I think a lot of people could use a moment to just catch their breaths and just, well, tomorrow you get a chance to do that because the Tigers play in Los Angeles at UCLA. And joining us to talk about that right now is Matt Moscona, the host of After Further Review, who is actually going to LA with the Tigers. Hey, Matt, how are you, bud?
Clay, I'm doing well, man. Thanks.
So how'd you make it after the storm?
Man, like most people, could have been worse, certainly, so thankful for that. But still without power. Hopefully we get that back soon. So a trip to L.A. for me is going to be welcome because, as I'm told, they do have power in Los Angeles. So I'll look forward to catching some AC and some internet and some just the common amenities in life that we all take for granted.
Well, the weather is great, but you might want to take some Tonys with you if you're going to eat in Los Angeles. It's they're not exactly us. So let's talk about this game, man. The Tigers play UCLA at 7:30 on Saturday, and it's been a long time coming. People are ready to watch football, and as I said a second ago, people need an outlet right now. What are you expecting from the game?
Yeah, it's so strange. It doesn't really feel like a game week, but I think when we get close to kickoff, people will start to feel it. I think it's actually going to be a way more competitive game than many Tiger fans think, Clay. UCLA they've struggled under Chip Kelly. For those that remember, he was at Oregon, had all his great teams, went to the NFL, didn't have a lot of success. He's back in college. This is year 4 at Oregon. But he finally has a veteran roster and a roster that can kind of run his offense. They don't go as fast as they did when he was at Oregon, but it's a similar run-heavy zone gap, trying to get you out of position and bust off big run type offense. I think it's going to be a very competitive game. As cliche as it is, I just think it's going to be won at the line of scrimmage. Let's see if or at UCLA's strength running the football going against LSU's strength, which is their defensive front. Let's see how that matchup plays out on Saturday.
So what are you expecting going into this year? You know, we came off of what I think was the greatest college football season ever, and the expectation had to be that we weren't going to repeat that, but last year just kind of fell apart. What are you expecting this year? What's the complexion of this team this year?
Yeah, there's no question 2020 was a total disaster in every way. Players didn't get along with each other. The players didn't get along with the coaches. The coaches didn't get along with the coaches. And there had to be massive change, which is why you saw Ed Ogeron turn over roughly half of his staff. Clay, they got younger, they got more diverse. The average age of the staff member change from the coaches that went out to the coaches that came in was roughly about 20 years. They went from an average of about 60 years old to an average of about 40 years old. They needed to be able to communicate better with players in the midst of things like COVID and like the racial instability from last summer. All of that infiltrated into the team, and it was as toxic as I've ever seen it around LSU. To their credit, this year feels like a total 180. It's refreshing to talk to people about this team and this program and how well the players and coaches are getting along. I think they're hungry and motivated to right the wrongs of a year ago. You asked what the expectation should be. I don't think this is a championship contending team, Clay. But I do think this is a team that, like 2018, could have some really nice wins and set the stage for what could be a very special 2022.
All right, well, let's change gears a little bit. The Saints are practicing in Texas. They're going to play their first home game or their first game against Green Bay in Jacksonville. What about the Saints and how all this moving around is affecting them?
Well, when you're a pro, you just have to roll with it. Look, your 49ers last year had to play, air quotes, home games in Arizona.
Yeah.
The 2005 Saints were a vagabond team the whole year, and that was a disaster. I mean, we've seen this before. The Vikings, there was a year where the roof of the Metrodome collapsed.
I remember.
And they had to move games to the outdoor stadium for the Minnesota Gophers.
Yeah.
It's the NFL, man. You have to live with it. Listen, I don't think the Saints were going to win Week 1 against Green Bay, even if they were in the Dome. They go on the road for 2 weeks after that. Then Week 4 is a home game against the Giants. If they're back in the Dome by then, I think they hit their stride. Just for the Saints, this is the ticket. Just get to 3-2 going into your bye week 6. If you're above 500 going into the bye, I think you have a great chance to finish above 500. And if you're above 500 in an expanded playoff, I think you're a playoff team.
Well, Matt, you be careful getting to Los Angeles, and when on the other side of all of this, after week 1 of the season, I'd love to have you back to talk about what's happening in the NFL. Appreciate all you do, man. And like I said, take some Tonys with you if you're going to Los Angeles.
Man, anytime you need me, call. You know that.
Matt Moscona, host of After Further Review, going to be in Los Angeles with the Tigers. Next week, Lamont Cole will be here. He's supposed to be on the show this week, obviously, because of Hurricane Ida. We moved it. He'll be on the show next week. And Senator Bill Cassidy will be here as well. Like I said, take a breath. We made it to the other side. Hopefully you have power. If you don't, it's coming. We'll see you next week on The Clay Young Show here on WBRZ+.